I'm going to talk about the emotions, and this could take a long time. Um, Possibly there might be a part one and part two to this. Anyway, in my opinion, the way the emotions are treated in the Gurdjieff work is largely inadequate. We are told things about the emotions. We're told, for example, that our ordinary emotions are pretty well all negative. And that one of the things we can do in life is not express our negative emotions. Now, I've since come across material and a teacher and information that would contradict that. Not the bit that our emotions are negative, because they are, in the main, they're negative. But that expressing negative emotions is something we should avoid. I had a very amusing experience in one group. One of the senior guys in the group was saying how we shouldn't express anger. And my wife, who was also in the group, contradicted him and just said, well, I feel like expressing anger clears me out, actually allows me to express something. At which point he got very angry. Yeah, well, this is the nature of the Gurdjieff work. It's the nature of it that people talk about one thing, read something, think something, but then in life something completely different happens. It's a topic for another video, actually. But anyway. So I saw how inadequate these kind of statements about the emotions were. Strange life, isn't it? Anyway, so this discussion about the emotions. When we look at life, every creature, including human beings, strive very hard to exist. And as you can imagine, any creatures that didn't strive hard to exist would become extinct, because they just say, oh, to hell with all this chasing wildebeest around the savannah. I'm just going to lay here and die, because actually I don't care. Or human beings might say, well, I'm just sick and tired of this work and whatever. Yeah, I'm just not going to go to work, and we can just go extinct as a species, and it doesn't matter. So clearly, that's not a very good thing from nature's point of view, because creatures would, they might just decide that I don't want to do all that stuff, and there would be no penalty. Like our fear, we all have a fear of death, a fear of not continuing to survive. And from nature's perspective, that fear is very, very useful, because it keeps us driven. Now, Spinoza says that desire is the very essence of man. It's actually the very essence of almost everything, certainly everything living. The desire to live. And as conditions around us change, so we respond to that desire to live in modified ways. So, for example, if you're out on a walk and you see a lion, then you're probably going to run. So your desire then is to run and get the hell out of there. If you are walking past a bank and, well, I was going to say, you saw a very easy opportunity to just walk away with $1 million. You might do it. Many people might not do it, but you might do it, depending on your character. Because money is sort of symbolic for a more vibrant form of survival. If you've got money, you can get the best healthcare, you can eat the best food, you can get the most pleasant experiences. You're kind of secure in your existence, so money sort of encourages that. So more generally, our emotions are ultimately driven by this one single thing: whether our survival is being enhanced or whether it is being diminished. And that is it, in the main, for our ordinary emotions. There are other emotions human beings can experience that have nothing to do with that, but those are rather rare, and I'm not going to talk about them in this video. So let's look at how we can categorize the emotions that derive from whether our survival is being enhanced or whether it's being diminished. Well, when our survival is being enhanced, we feel pleasure. So, a nice meal, good health, more money in your bank account, whatever it is that enhances your mode of survival. Now, I should say at this point that this whole survival thing, in human beings anyway, can get very, very corrupted. You know, you get people who don't feel safe unless they've got $100 million in the bank. You know, clearly they're mentally ill. You don't need $100 million in the bank to be financially secure. Yeah, probably $1 million would do it. For most people anyway. But anyway, back to the main theme. If your survival is being enhanced, then you will feel pleasure. That is the only way you feel pleasure. And you can link that to sex being one of the most intense pleasures that most people experience. That's about procreation, about the survival of your genes. Yeah, it's all very biological. It's all very sort of mechanical, really. On the other hand, if you are unwell, if you just realize that someone has defrauded you out of most of the money you saved, if you find that your children don't want to see you or whatever, these things will cause you pain because they are associated with a lower opportunity for survival. And that's the way it works. Now, in Western civilization particularly, we've sort of put the emotions on a bit of a pedestal. They need to be taken off that pedestal because these emotions work exactly the same in animals. Emotions are effectively pre-programmed reactions to situations. So, you know, put a wildebeest in front of a lion and it's not going to think about it. It's just going to belt away as fast as it can. There'll be no thinking, well, this animal might not attack me, or no. Fear and gone. It's as immediate as that. It's a pre-programmed response. Similarly, if someone finds that they've won the lottery, they won't think about it. They won't think, is this a good thing or a bad thing? They'll be jumping around the room probably. An immediate response. My survival prospects have been enhanced. You know, I'm so happy. It's just an immediate emotional thing. So the emotions like hatred and envy and jealousy and pity and, well, so on and so forth, all work in this way. Now, the problem with the emotions is that they are effectively, they hold us in bondage. Because a lot of the emotions we experience are negative and they're painful. So we live in pain. Talk about envy for a moment. Most of us, and you may not care to admit this to yourself, but most of us are envious creatures. And envy is defined as pain, experiencing pain when someone experiences good fortune. So that guy who lives across the street from you suddenly announces to you that he's won $10 million on the lottery. That might be a little bit painful for you because actually you'd like $10 million. And to see someone else with that money creates a kind of contrast. What you want for yourself, which is this enhanced sense of existence, some other guy's got, and you want it. So you'll actually hate him. It will be painful. And if the following day he comes to you and says, oh bugger, I'd misread the lottery ticket, I haven't won anything, you probably feel a little bit of pleasure. Horrible, isn't it? But actually, I'm just being honest about the way we work. The Germans call it Schadenfreude. I think that's a word anyway. It's joy at somebody else's misfortune. And love, we put love on some kind of huge pedestal. Love is pleasure. And it's pleasure associated with some external object. So obviously if you love a person, it's because they give you some kind of pleasure. Maybe they care for you, maybe they reinforce you, whatever, and pleasure is about an enhanced sense of survival. You wouldn't love someone who was trying to stick a knife in you, would you? So people love all kinds of things. They love their money, they love people, they love fame, anything that gives them this enhanced sense of survival. Now there's a problem with all of this. Not only do the passions, as I think we can call these emotions, not only do the passions hold us in bondage, but they create friction between people. Because what you want is actually what a lot of other people want as well. So we get into competitive situations. And one person in a group may feel that they want to be the alpha male or alpha female in that group, and that will create some kind of competitive situation. Now the alpha male or female will make a preferential claim on mating rights. Yeah, it's all fairly sort of basic biological animal stuff, but that's what human beings are to some extent. In fact, this is a human animal, it's not really a human being. So we have to work on the emotions, and there are some ways to do it. I've talked in other videos about self-observation, and it's always a starting point. Every time it's a starting point. If you haven't observed something, then there's absolutely nothing for you to work with. But Spinoza actually details a number of exercises that lessen the power of the emotions. I'm not going to go into them now because this video is already long enough. I might actually produce a second video to detail those things. But we can work with the fact that those people who are annoying you, for example, have no free will. They're just like little robots doing whatever they do, and you in your turn are behaving like a little robot in responding in the way that you do. That is a bondage, and there are ways to deal with it, but the means of dealing with the emotions I'll handle in another video. I think that's really all there is to say at this point. There is actually hours and hours worth of things to say, but as an introduction, so just to summarize, we're driven by the survival instinct. The ancients called it the conatus. It's the force that drives us to persevere, to maintain our existence. And whenever anything enhances our sense of existence, our outlook for existing, makes it more positive, then we experience pleasure. Whenever anything threatens our existence, we experience pain. And this is what our life is, just being tossed around between pleasure and pain on an ongoing basis, depending on fortune. One day something good happens, another day something bad happens. So one day we feel good, another day we feel bad. That's the way it is with us. There's no central I in a person who is tossed around like that. And as you know, Gurdjieff talked around about creating a permanent I within one. And that I is the I of understanding and of observation. It's nothing mysterious. If you haven't got an I that can observe and understand, then you are just like a leaf in the wind. You'll be blown from A to B. You might still be blown from A to B, but the point is, when you observe and understand, there is something within you that is at least seeing that and is a permanent feature through whatever's happening to you. Anyway, there's much more to say about it, but another time.